There he is, the brightest name in the 154-pound division. It's Vergil Ortiz Jr., fresh off the plane, I assume, from Saudi Arabia, and the big victory over Israil Madrimov. Vergil, this was like coming full bloom, the full maturation, the full performance. Congratulations. How do you feel just a couple days removed from this breakout win?
First of all, thank you so much for your congratulations. I feel great. I feel like everyone really enjoyed the fight. I'm very proud of my performance, and I'm in a good place right now.
Indeed, and you deserve it, and you earned it. I got to hear about your mental game plan entering this fight because you know the awkwardness that Madrimov brings, the movement, the footwork. You saw what he did to Terrence Crawford, and I think the biggest takeaway, none of it bothered you. I've never seen you that poised, that ready for what was in front of you. You didn't necessarily walk through it. You used your IQ, you outsmarted it. What was that game plan mentally coming in?
Just to not overcomplicate things. I think there was a lot of smoke and mirrors that were going on, and you just keep it simple, and that's the, that's really all it was. Just keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it, and it wasn't easy, but it's a lot easier than you know. Yeah,
What do you think you proved in this performance?
I think that I proved that I'm, if not the best, one of the best 154 pounders. I think I am. It's just only a matter of time before I get those opportunities to be able to prove that. But I think I'm one of the best fighters in the game right now, and just looking for the opportunity to show that.
It's weird because you've always been a double threat. You can box, you can bang, but I feel like maybe it's because that fight against Boachuk was so good. Maybe it's because you had that stretch where you're out of the ring. It's almost as if we all forgot you can box on that level. Is there any I mean, were you surprised at the reaction? Because we were like, damn, going in there again against a technician like Madrimov, who we respect. The adjustments you made on the fly was super elite. Like, are you surprised people are surprised because it was such a beautifully mature performance from you?
I think it's funny, like in a good way. I think it's funny that people just think that I'm or they forget that I can do everything. I can do a lot of things. My dad has trained me since I was a boy, and he did make me that kind of that forward pressure fighter, but at the same time, he always made sure that I was still able to box if I needed to box. If I was able to fight on the outside. I was able to do these things because not every fight is just going to be forward, forward, forward. Sometimes I'm gonna need to be smart about it and fight different ways. We'll try not to be one dimensional because we've all seen those kind of fighters and what happens to them when they fight uh against other kinds of fighters and they can't deal with it. So we just he always tried to make sure that I was prepared for any scenario.
I'm interested to ask you this. I know you're a warrior, and we've seen it not just in the Boachek fight, which probably would have won fight of the year any other year, right? If it wasn't up against Usyk Fury and Taylor Serrano too, and all that. Does going through a fight that great, where you have to show the backbone, get off the canvas, really prove what you're made of, does it make you want to do it again or do it less in the future?
It definitely shows that I can do it and I can do it as many times if need be. It's a confidence booster for sure. Even though I know fully 100% in my heart that I can do it, just seeing it and going through it, just like, yeah, no, I can do this. I'm built for this. You know what I mean? But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just like I said, I was literally made for this. I was born for this, and I was molded into the fighter that I am today.
All right. Do you have you heard that Bernard Hopkins called you Victor twice on the broadcast by accident? Did you get to go, jab him in the stomach and remind him?
Now, so um, I watched the fight, but I watched the fight that Turkey posted on YouTube. So I didn't hear the DAZN commentators. So I think that's where he got interviewed on. So I didn't hear that. I did see the tweets and all that on the internet, but I mean, it happens, I guess. I mean,
Sure.
I hear it all the time. And I'm just like, I just kind of like, okay, I kind of just have to deal with it, I guess.
I mean, shout out to Victor Ortiz. He was a very fun fighter, but
Oh
always
yeah, I
been a
love
big
watching
fan
him fight.
for sure.
Ortiz versus Berto was one of my favorite fights of all time. Yeah,
Damn right, Vergil. That's what I'm talking about. 2011 fight of the year. I was there. It was one of the first fights I ever covered. It was a great
nice.
night in the sport. All right, here's what people are saying now, Vergil. I think you've probably heard it. They are saying, "Hey, Turkey, Canelo Crawford would be great for the sport, bring in the casual fans, fill up a football stadium. But if we want to battle for 154 supremacy, Vergil Ortiz versus Crawford would be a badass fight right now. How do we wreck the best made plans of Turkey Al-Sheikh and slide you in against the true class of this division at the moment?"
I mean that I don't know how we do it, but if it does happen, that would be amazing. We've been we were calling for that fight since 147. It's been a few years now. Um, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I've spoken to certain people and they just said, you know what, yeah, it's just it's only a matter of time before he retires. So I'm I hope for it, but I'm not very optimistic that the fight happens.
What do you think, or what do you want when it comes to a first title shot here at junior middleweight? What is the path for you to contend for a title and get into this title picture right now after the run you've been on since moving up to this weight class?
So hear me out, man. So Crawford has the WBA, right? He just beat Madrimov for last year. Um, Assuming he's going to 168 to fight whoever, and then Canelo, and then possibly retire. I think that I think what should have happened was he vacated the title. Madrimov gets to have his shot again, and I also get the shot. Obviously, we're fighting, and I should have been the WBA title world champion right now because I thought I was supposed to fight Madrimov when Crawford fought Madrimov. I could have sworn, I don't remember the exact details, but I could have sworn I was the one in line to fight Madrimov for the world title. So I think it would have only been fair that that fight would have been for the WBA. But whatever the case, just so we have who do we have? We have Fundora and we have Murtazaliev. I mean, those are both great fights to happen. Only if it was up to me, I fight them next right now. But of
Sure.
course, we got Golden Boy and we got Turkey Al Sheikh to see what's on the table for us, and they know I don't say no to anybody. We just have to wait and see.
Well, look, you've proven that, meaning that you were supposed to fight Tim Tszyu last year, and all respects to Crawford Madrimov, but that was the fight the hardcores were like, this is the reason why this card is going to be so great. So Tim Tszyu wasn't ready, and then he gets knocked out by Murtazaliev. How did you react to watching that fight where Murtazaliev defended his title, but it felt like everybody had been picking Tszyu coming into that one?
Yeah, so I don't think anyone was really familiar with Murtazaliev, at least not here in the States. So that was kind of everyone's first time watching him. So we all assumed that Tim was gonna do Tim's thing. And I was shocked, I really was. I didn't expect that at all. And I'm just like, damn, like this guy's good. Um, but nevertheless, that just makes me even more excited because it's just another good fighter I can test my skills against.
It looked like ahead of this card last week that that a few people got ill, from Dubois pulling out, Schofield, although there's other elements linked to that conversation, the poisoning or whatever that was said. I'm not getting into that. But then you got Madrimov admitting now that he was heavily compromised, that the doctors told him he shouldn't fight. How do you react to that? Because you were the one that felt what he did have in the ring on that night. Did you feel a compromised opponent at all?
Not at all. I mean, the dude was Madrimov was moving the entire fight. Like he probably did like a good mile in the ring. Like you don't move that way if you feel sick. I mean, if anything, you're gonna be closer to the ground, try not to waste as much energy as he did for sure. I don't It sounds like an excuse to me, if I'm being honest. It just being real, it just sounds like an excuse. I mean, just own up to the loss. It's fine. Just bounce back.
Yeah, I hear you. What is the experience like fighting in Saudi Arabia? I've yet to cover a fight there, but we're seeing so many fights go there, and it seems like Turkey Al Sheikh and company are making it feel royal and big, and celebrities everywhere. What's it like for you and your experience this past week?
It was great. So we got there like 3 weeks before. We basically finished half of the training camp there. I mean, honestly, it was really good. Aside from the first week was hard to adjust to it, but that's why we took off 3 weeks earlier. Um, Man, everyone's nice there. The customer service being treated there. No one really makes you feel like an outsider at all. You just everyone's just everyone's just chill there, man. And training was fine. We trained at the Mike Tyson gym, right there by Boulevard World. Um, it Everything went smooth. If I'm just being honest, it was all smooth.
How do you sit right now mentally when you look back? Obviously, right now you're on top. You're almost like the uncrowned champion of this division. We want to see you against everybody. But just a couple of years back, there were questions. I think at one point, if you were going to be healthy enough to fight again, you never got to go in there against the welterweight title holders. How do you look back on your experience now? And I mean, is there any lament? Are you happy you went through it? Because here you are today. How do you deal with all that?
It was a very difficult time for sure, to say the least. It was really tough. I would say it was an eye opener though, not in like in the boxing sense, but in the life sense, because it was like, what am I gonna do after boxing? Like,
Yeah.
let's say if my career ended right there, well, what am I gonna do? So I went back to school, and I'm just like, and when I went back to school, I I was just like, I'm gonna have to do this anyways. Like, school was it never plan B. It was a part of the same plan, just to make sure that I'm set up for life. My kids will be okay, just my entire family. Um, it was a real eye opener for sure. And I don't want to say I'm glad I went through it. It sucks that I had to go through that to realize it, but it was an eye opener for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I could tell that you've taken the good from the bad, and I think that's it.
exactly.
All you can do in those circumstances. But look, at 154, you've got the size. It seems like you got the power. Is this the division you see yourself in for a while, or what are your plans now as you look, 3-5 years ahead of you?
Yeah, I mean, I can be in 154 for a long time, maybe even the rest of my career if we wanted to be like that, and I've always said that I could go to 160 for sure. I don't 168 is probably a little too big for me, if I'm being honest. I mean, that's just how I feel right now. Who knows in the future, but 160 for sure in the future. Um, just wait for the right opportunity, I guess, and we'll just wait and see. But 154 in the near future is where I will be.
All right, separate from the title holders at 54, because if I asked you what fight if you could map your own future, I'm sure you could pick out any of those title holders. Crawford might be number one on that list. But there's a lot of young fighters like in and around your weight class. You got sometimes Teofimo talking about going to 154, for example. Is there any fights that you have your eyes on? Doesn't have to be a grudge, but you're like, I'd like to cross paths with that guy.
Not really, man. I want to fight not a specific name is what I mean, but I want to fight everybody. Of course, you said obviously the belt holders. Maybe me and Tim can still run it back respectfully. I think he's a great fighter. We both wanted that fight so bad. It sucks that it didn't happen. Um, I think Charlo is still at 154.
Yeah.
I don't got nothing against him. I would love to test my skills against him as well. Think he's a good fighter. Um,
You got Errol Spence out there. You got
I
Duke
don't I don't think
Ennis.
I don't think Errol should fight again.
Why do you say that?
Well, and I say this as a fighter who really looked up to him being in the same gym.
Sure.
I think he's done. I don't want to see him I don't want to see him fight again.
I
I
got you.
really don't. Just for his health concerns, I don't he already had the car crash, and he had a bad night against Crawford, and you know what? If he made the money that he's needed, and he doesn't need any more to survive, and he can live comfortably, then just retire. Like, I really don't want to see him fight again, like, as a friend. Um we have other fighters as well. You said Ennis is a great fight. um
Let me bring up another name. Every time I see Boacek talk, he's like, they robbed me. Everyone knows I beat him. Will you see him again one day in the ring? Do you want to?
You know what? So what happened was they wanted so much money on the last fight. They wanted more money. They just kept asking for money, man. They had so many demands. It was insane. That fight almost didn't happen because the list of demands my dad was showing me was just like on the phone, just scrolling. It was insane. Like okay, but they wanted more money, and we're like, okay, well, no rematch clause in, and they wanted the money so bad. Hey, okay, no rematch. Well, it's just like now you want to fight again, but they still got the money. So it's just like, well, you kind of like you sold your belt for that extra maybe like 200,000 or whatever it was. So I feel I'm conflicted by it. It's like, you know what? I'll fight you again, but it's just like, well, give me half your purse or something, because like you're gonna have to you're gonna pay for that because you know what I mean. I'm
I
I'm
got
I'm
you.
very conflicted by that because for me, I'm a proud person, and it's just like, you know. But
Yeah.
I
All
being
right.
a fighter, I'm not. I would love to.
The other name in the division, of course, you mentioned him briefly, was Fundora. He's got a fight coming up against Cordell Booker. He's got two of
Yep.
the 4 belts. I could not imagine any boxing fans would turn down Vergil Ortiz versus Sebastian Fundora.
I don't think they would. I think it's a good fight. Um, Very friendly fight for sure. Fundora, he's every fight that he's in is pretty much entertaining in my opinion. Um, yeah, I think that was just is very simple. There's nothing complicated about that. It's an entertaining fight to be made, and I think everyone would like to see it.
Well, look, I'm sure your phone's going to be ringing a lot. There's going to be a lot of opportunities coming up. You're on a hell of a run here, 4 fights into your journey at 154. Vergil, thanks so much for your time, man. Um, what else can we say, right? It's a great time to be Vergil Ortiz Jr. at the moment, and I got to say, as a fan, I was happy and proud to see that performance out of you. So well done against Madrimov, and we can't wait for the future.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.